Today being the 5th of July of 2025, we have a series of interesting and fascinating news for you in this video briefing. As we speak, a lot of Baffron citizens assembled in a state in Georgia to celebrate and to chant the name of Simon. The question here is, why are these guys celebrating Simon at this particular point in time when we all know that Simon is currently being held in a Finnish correctional center? Well, in this video you will find and get answers for yourself. In this video briefing, we have a fascinating update coming from the country of Russia. As we speak, a Nigerian has been captured fighting in the Russian army. Who is this Nigerian, and why is he fighting for Russia? Well, you find your answers in this particular video briefing. Interestingly, we have an update coming from the country of the USA, where Donald Trump has currently sent some agents to Nigeria. Yes, the president of the most powerful nation of the world have sent agents to Nigeria to do a decisive work and to fulfill an operation. Why did the president of the most powerful nation of the world send FBI agents to Nigeria? You get your answers in this said video. Interestingly, we have a massive update coming from the country of Kenya, the same country who aided the federal government of Nigeria in abducting Mr. Nnamdi Kanu when he traveled to Nairobi for an important event. Right now, the country of Kenya has done something no African country have been able to do in this particular year and time, and this was done to beef their security infrastructure. It feels like the country of Kenya are expecting an attack anytime soon. So we'll give you more info about that particular update. Moving on swiftly, we have a massive update coming from the desk of the governor of Anambra State in the presence of Charles Soludo. Something fascinating has happened, and it relates with the Deputy Prime Minister of the Baffron movement. In this said video briefing, you'll be getting full and detailed analysis and info regarding the German currency, because as we speak, some top analysts of the world, some financial analysts, and professionals of the world came out yesterday to openly advise the USB nation on how to deal with its currency so it can be one of the strongest and the most formidable in the world financial body. Well, in this said video briefing, we have a massive one coming from Finland. As we speak, the president of Finland and the president of Alexander Stubb has been called out openly by his own citizens. Yes, we all know that in the past couple of weeks and months, the USB supporters has been calling the president the attention of the Finnish president. But now things have changed. His own citizens have called him out and openly criticized him for the way and manner he has been handling the case of Simon and a particular event in that country. I'll be giving you massive updates regarding the case of Alexander Stubb. So stay tuned so you can get every single info. Well, meanwhile, we have a massive breaking news coming from Finland regarding the case of Simon, because something huge has happened that has made individuals celebrate, and it should be late. Yes, as we speak this morning, something massive has unraveled and played out in the Finnish Correctional Center. I'll be giving you full details regarding this particular briefing. Meanwhile, we also have a news coming from Peter Obi. Yes, just in case you don't know, Peter Obi has joined a coalition known as the ADC. We have a news regarding that a coalition of Peter Obi, Nazir Erui, and Atua Abu Bakr. Something huge is playing behind the scenes. With all of that being said, let's kickstart this video. Which update should we start from? Well, let's kickstart with the Kenyan updates. Yes, we all know that Kenya as a country aided the federal government of Nigeria in abducting or kidnapping Mzinu as we speak. Kenya are doing something to threaten its security apparatus and security structure. It feels like they're expecting something to happen to their country anytime soon. So the question here is, what is Kenya doing, and what are they expecting? Well, take a look at this publication or article showing right now on your screen, and this is coming from African Hub. It states Kenya wants to purchase a $26 million U.S. missile defense system from Israel. Yes, the country of Kenya will spend almost $30 million U.S. in buying a defense system from the country of Israel. Why are these guys doing this? Who is financing this project, and how will it play out? Well, showing right now on your screen is a clarity coming from Business Insider Africa, and in their own updates it states Kenya turns to Israel for a 3.4 billion Kenyan shillings missile defense deal. It also went a step further to give us more clarity when it states Kenya is set to receive a 3.44 billion Kenyan shillings loan from Israel to finance the acquisition of a modern missile defense system in a move aimed at bolstering the country's air security amid escalating regional terror threats. So, as you can see, the country of Kenya are expecting something to happen soon, and that is why the governments of that country are making moves to plan, prepare, and get ready for the future. Yes, the business inside Africa also gave us more clarity that this system is capable of intercepting a range of aerial threats including aircraft, drones, helicopters, and guided ammunitions, and so on and so forth. Well, massive one to the country of Kenya. But the question here is, do Nigeria have a missile defense system? Well, take a look at this article showing right now on how can the giant of Africa not have a system, a defense mechanism at its play already at this particular point in time where countries of the world are going in for wars and going in for destruction? Well, as we speak, the government of Nigeria are still planning. Yes, the government of Nigeria are known for planning, making plans that will never come to fruition. Take a look at this. It states, future prospects. The Nigerian government is actively seeking to bolster its defense capabilities, which may include the development or acquisition of more advanced missile defense systems in the future. So, these guys don't have any plan on doing it now. They're planning for the future. And we all know the future can be maybe around 2077 or thereabouts. We honor our government and how they tend to do things. What I'm showing right now on your screen is the defense system. The defense mechanism Kenya is trying to portray from the country of Israel. Well, when you look at this whole vehicle, it looks like a normal truck, but in a real sense, this is not a truck or a vehicle. This is the mechanism. This is the structure, and this is the defense system that will protect your air and protect any aerial threats coming from any part of the world. And like we said, this cost around 3.4 billion Kenyan shillings, which is around 26 million US. Massive one. Well, moving on swiftly. What else do we have for you? As stated previously, a Nigerian has been captured in the country of Russia, doing something nobody would ever think of. Well, for better understanding, take a look at this publication showing right now on your screen. And this is coming from the Daily Trust. It states, and I quote, Ukraine fighters capture Nigerian fighting for Russia. So, Ukraine soldiers has captured a Nigerian who is seen fighting for the country of Russia. A country you don't even know their formation. You don't even know how they got to this particular point in time. But you are seen fighting for them. So, why is this guy even fighting for a country of such nature? Who is this Nigerian? What is the motives behind his decisions? Well, showing right now on your screen is an article that will give us more clarity. States a Nigerian nation, now known as Kaolua Bami Lo, who is reportedly fighting for the Russian military. The ongoing case in Ukraine has been captured by Ukrainian forces. It also went a step further to state that Aolua Game was apprehended by the Freedom of Russia Legion, a unit composed of Russian fighters supporting Ukraine according to Ukraine's I Want to Leave project. So, why is this guy even fighting for that country? Well, take a look at this and pay attention to the highlighted part of this publication. It states, he was said to have agreed to join the Russia's military campaign in exchange for a reduced sentence. Instead of serving a prison sentence under Article 228 of the Russian Criminal Code, so this Nigerian committed an offense in Russia, but instead of going to prison and serving out his stem, he decided to join the Russian forces and fight massive. What are right now on your screen is the face of this Nigerian. As you can clearly see, this guy have been through hell and back, and currently he's receiving medical treatment. So we are urging on the federal government of Nigeria to please go into Russia and bring back your citizen. This man wasn't trained to be a soldier. He has no formal training military proct. He's just a scapegoat used by the Russian government. We urge the federal government of Nigeria to please go in there and rescue a citizen. Well, still talking about the federal government of Nigeria and talking about rescuing the president of the most powerful nation of the world in the person of Donald Trump has sent agents to Nigeria. He has sent representatives to Lagos, Nigeria to do something no one saw coming. So, why the agent of the most powerful nation of the world currently in Lagos, Nigeria? We'll take a look at this news coming from News 360. It states, and I quote, FBI traces $250,000 U.S. Trump's inauguration scam to Lagos fraudster. And well, just in case you understand, the FBI have traced a stolen $250,000 to Lagos, Nigeria, a fund that was dedicated for Trump's inauguration after the presidential elections in that country. So, who is this individual who ran this big scam? Well, his name is Emin Aybakan, and he was accused of masterminding a cryptocurrency scam that diverted over 460 million naira, which is $250,000 US, intended for Donald Trump's 2025 presidential inauguration. So, how did this guy manage to pull off this amount of money? How did he manage to steal these huge sums of money without being tracked on the first attempt? Well, take a look at this article. It states, according to court documents from the USA, Aybakan and his syndicate use a business email compromise known as the BC scheme to impersonate officials from the Trump-Vance inaugural committee. The group reportedly created fake email addresses that closely mimics those of Steve Witskoff, a real estate magnate and a co-chair of the event, to mislead an unsuspecting donor. The scam was carried out on the 26th of December of 2024 when the fraudster successfully tricked the donor into transferring 250,300 USDT to their crypto wallet. So these guys forged email addresses and websites of real business magnates in the USA, and they managed to swindle the government to send $250,000 to the account. Massive, massive one. And as we speak, the FBI in Nigeria, this man has been arrested, and currently they're trying to process his extradition. He'll be sent to the USA to serve his time and to face the full arrow of the law. This is a sad, sad ending. Crime doesn't pay. Crime will never pay, and scamming isn't the way forward or the way to absolute wealth. Well, moving on swiftly, we have a news coming from the Deputy Prime Minister of the USB movement. Yet, as we speak, Ngo Rao has called out the governor of Andhra State in the person of Charles Solito. He has called him out because of the security structure he created. And based on the claims coming from the USB Deputy Prime Minister, she states that the security structure Solito created in Andhra State has caused a lot of mayhem in the state and led to high level of insecurity. And she's urging the governor of Andhra State to leave and vacate his position. Well, take a look at this publication coming from the DPM, released on the 4th of July of 2025, where she asks Tudo to vacate his position and leave the government of Andhra State. Well, moving on swiftly, which other news do we have for you in this video briefing? We have a massive one. Yes, like we all know previously, individuals from the USB were seen celebrating, dancing, eating, feasting in Chicago, in a state in the USA. Why were these guys celebrating? Well, we'll come back to that in a second. But then, the currency of the USB nation, the one known ASMA, has been analyzed by top financial analysts of the world, and they have sent a written documentation and a written suggestion to the government of the USB, asking them to do something and do one thing, if you want your currency to stand the test of time. So the question here is, what are these guys asking the government of the USB to do with the Gemma currency? Well, take a look at this publication showing right now on your screen. These guys are asking the government to make a Gemma, a crypto token. Well, let's take a look at this article. It states if a currency is launched as a crypto token, it might be accepted on decentralized exchanges, be used in peer-to-peer transactions, gain value in online communities before formal recognition. Countries like El Salvador, Central African Republic have moved their currency into the crypto space. And this is coming from top financial analysts of the world asking the BIAFRA movement to make this AMA currency a crypto token. This will help its value. This will help the value of this currency in the future because it's going to be used in the decentralized exchanges for peer-to-peer transactions and further booster the value of this currency. And as we speak, the DPM is looking into these claims and suggestions coming from top analysts of the world. She's doing some investigations and to analyze all of these statements to be sure they are true and coming from a place of love. We're moving on swiftly. Something is happening in Finland that we all need to know and understand. Something is happening in that country that we need to pay attention to. Yes. For the past couple of months and even close to a year, a lot of individuals, Nigerians in particular, and USB and citizens in particular to pinpoint, have been calling the name of Alexander, stop criticizing him in the way and manner he is treated. Simon, a man held in this correctional center. But, as you speak, things have changed. Now the citizens of the country are now calling this man because he did something recently that did not make sense to a lot of people. They were like, why will you do this particular thing when you can show that you support freedom, you support human freedom, by releasing an individual known as Simon held in your correctional center? Well, for better understanding, take a look at this article or tweet coming from TP Kanilia, which is the official Twitter page of the Finnish government. It states President of the Republic of Finland Alexander Stubb and his spouse Suzanne in a stabby particular week of 2025. It also states that on Saturday flags will be flown at the Presidential Palace in Helsinki and at the summer residence in Karanta in Natalie in support of equality. So this guy wants to do something in support of equality. Well, showing right now on your screen is what the President of Finland is talking about. He wants to fly this flag. Well, just in case you don't know what this flag is, I cannot say it in this video to avoid being penalized. Yes. So if you know, you know. And if you don't know, do some research. You can Google this particular flag, and you get more clarity. So people are criticizing him that why are you trying to form or fly a flag to show equality when you are yet to show freedom of speech and equality of human rights to a man in your Finnish custody? Yes, a lot of individuals has come for the President of Finland. And let's take a look at some reactions coming from its citizens, the citizens of Finland. One state. What a disgrace. A user known as Fasakarat state, and I quote, "Dumb question. Doesn't the Finnish flag flying on the pole symbolize a fair and equal Finland?" A user known as John Erickson states biggest mistake in Alexander's career. They are so ignorant and clueless with this topic, and the whole reactions went on and on and on. Well, people are not buying into the idea of flying that particular flag to show any form of equality, claiming that if you want to show equality, though it's impractical, and not by flying this flag in the presidential palace. Well, moving on swiftly, we also have a massive news coming from Finland. But this time is not on the case of the Finnish president, but on Simon, a man held in its correctional center. As we speak, the Miami District Court has granted Simon a bail, and they have listed a lot of conditions and restrictions that he must agree to sign to and meet before his bail will be granted. Interestingly, Simon has agreed to all of the bailing conditions. He has signed documents, and subsequently in the next couple of days, probably Monday next week, it's very, very possible that this man for the very first time in over 9 months will spend time with his family members, his loved ones, friends, and other well-wishes at home. This is a good and gigantic news coming from Finland, and this definitely will go a long way. So by next week, Monday probably, we shall be waiting for official announcement from the Court of Law. And when we do, we'll make a video to cover every single thing that you need to know and understand. Anyways, if you find our videos interesting, please do well to subscribe and turn on post notifications. Thank you. Well, let's move on to our next news. The governor of Osun state, that is to say the relative Davidito's uncle, which is the governor of that state, will do something nobody has ever thought of. Yes, Davido, as a musician, as an artist together with his uncle, are ready to do something in the Nigerian political sense and first. So the question is, what is the governor of Osun state planning the president of Adola Adeleke? What is he planning? Well, we received a clear and distinctive update coming from Prince Adeshino, a close ally to the governor, and he made a statement on Twitter showing right now on your screen is this statement. "Dear all in Osun state, something big will happen soon. Whichever way, my loyalty to is 100% and non-negotiable. To my brothers Adam Day and Duke of Osun, you are unofficially welcome." And based on some reportage, we believe that the governor of Osun state is planning on defecting to the All Progressive Congress. Yes, he wants to defect to the ruling party and move his political career to that standpoint. Yes, this is a massive one. Remember, you heard this here first, and this definitely will unravel in the coming days. So next week will be jam-packed with a lot of info, with a lot of details and breaking news from Finland to Nigeria to the USA and to all part of the world. So stay tuned because this is going to be a massive one. We're moving on swiftly. Let's take a look at what we saw in the USA, where a lot of USB supporters and Biafrans were seen celebrating, jubilating on the streets of Georgia. So yes, the question here is, why are Biafrans celebrating, dancing, eating, and feasting in Georgia just recently, and this happened about 5 hours ago? Well, let me explain. First of all, before I explain, let me show you the video that was taken just this morning. Showing right now on your screen is this video. When you look closely, you see the Deputy Prime Minister and Go dancing, jubilating, and enjoying themselves in Georgia, USA. When you look around, you see other celebrities of Igbo descent in this particular convention. Why are these people celebrating, and why are these guys having a good time? Well, for a better understanding, take a look at this article coming from Goy herself. It states, and I quote, break in July 4th, United States of Baffron USB citizens in Georgia, United States remember and audiers PM Simon during the American Independence Day celebration. Remarkable event as a great leader is remembered and adored. USB was chanted every year. Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Rabois was cherished among Baffron. Our sovereignty cannot be tampered with by any group or individual. It's a promise. And this, like I said, is coming from the official Twitter page of Ngo herself, where she was seen celebrating and jubilating the lot of Biafrans during the American Independence Day celebration in Georgia, USA. I'm showing right now on your screen are some pictures and videos taken from that day and time. Well, this is a massive one because the gospel of the USB has now transcended from just Nigeria, Southeast Nigeria, to the rest of the world. And as we speak, the USB now has an official embassy domiciled in Washington, D.C. Domiciled in the same town and city where the president of the most powerful nation of the world resides and live. This is a massive one because from the White House to the Baffron embassy is a 30 or less than 30 minutes drive from these two different government buildings. Well, this is a massive one, and this definitely will go a long, long way. Well, before we wrap things off, we also have a news coming from Nigeria coming from the new coalition that was formed just recently. Well, as we speak, Aisha Yufu, if you know her very well, she happens to be a close supporter, a lover of Mr. Peter Obi, and she came out recently to warn every single person's out there, and also to warn Peter Obi herself, par. Well, take a look at this article showing right now on your screen. It states, if Peter Obi becomes running mate to anyone in 2027, I will walk against that ticket. And this is coming from Aisha Yufu. This article states, and I quote, Osun, a Nigerian activist and supporter of Peter Obi, has indeed stated that she would walk against any ticket that features Peter Obi as a running mate in the 2027 presidential elections. This stance is reported due to her perception that women are often relegated to deputy positions, and she believes Peter Obi should be better suited as a presidential candidate rather than a running mate to any person out there. And this is coming from Aisha Yufu herself. Moving on swiftly, we have a massive news coming from the country of Russia regarding the new currency known as AJMA. Yes, just in case you don't know, just yesterday currency has been recognized by a media outlet domiciled in Finland. A journalist in that country wrote a massive documentation. He vividly explained the origin of AJMA currency, its values, its attributes, and generations to the Russian press. Yes, just in case you haven't seen that documentation, well, showing right now on your screen are some of the pieces you have to see and understand at this particular point in time where a Russian analyst critically explained the AJMA currency for the whole wide world to see. He wrote a vivid documentation that exposes every single content, every single values of this new currency that was unleashed. It seems and it feels like this Russian analyst or journalist has more info and more intel than Biafrans themselves because the way this man critically analyzed every single thing in the currency. It feels and it seems like this man has been following the currency from the very first day of its inception. Yes. Interestingly, even the Deputy Prime Minister of the USB had to come out and acknowledge this note or the publication coming from a Russian journalist. Showing right now your screen is this article. It states, breaking HMR currency to the world, the newest nation in Africa and the world. United States of BIAFRA has exerted itself in the world, and BIAFRA monetary policy records standard catalog of banknotes, coins, and economia Russia 1967 to 2025, as you can clearly see right now on your screen. Yes. So this is a massive one. This is a great achievement. A monumental feat that has been achieved by the currency that was unleashed a couple of weeks back. This will go a long way, and it simply means that the movement of the USB and the Baffron nation is moving with the speed of light. We don't even know where this movement will be in the next couple of months. It's very possible that this movement would have attained greater heights. Well, moving on swiftly, like we all know, Simon has been granted bail, and the Pennsylvania street courts enlisted series of conditions, restrictions, and documentations that he must meet, sign, and approve on before his bailing conditions will be approved and granted. Next week. Yes, Just in case you haven't seen the full and detailed breakdown of every single thing that played out in the courtroom session, we have a video right on this channel that will give you a detailed breakdown of every single thing enlisted in that court document. You will see the conditions. You get to see the restrictions, and you get to see documents that Simon has to sign before his bailing application will go through any time or any moment from now. Well, just in case you haven't seen that video, we have a video right on this channel that will give you clear updates and a better picture of every single thing that you need to know and understand.